A crazy boy who gains the abilities of all the gods. Millions of people around the world awaken their talents simultaneously. Some awaken with an SSS-level talent known as the Emperor's Eye, which can see through anything, while others awaken with an SS-level talent known as Time Travel, which allows them to traverse time. However, the main character only awakens an F-level talent called Plunder. Anyone they defeat can plunder their talent level. A mysterious stone tablet descends upon the blue planet, and its powerful energy completely destroys Country R. The 5 great powers of the blue planet send scientists to study the tablet. Meanwhile, in a discreet company in Han's City, Shanghai teaches the main character the girl they just adopted. However, they realize that the main character does not react, and just stands there with a bored expression. Tears silently flow from the corners of their eyes. The main character is dazed, wondering why they are here and not in that chaotic era. Unexpectedly, there was a ghost-level monster in the group, drawn there by an enemy. Their brother died protecting them, and they themselves were brutally killed by the lurking enemy. The cause of all this confusion was their refusal to hand over the ascending spiritual crystal they possessed. In that chaotic era, being weak was a sin. The main character soon emerges from their memories and asks in a daze what day it is today. Another person looks at them perplexed and tells them it is November 12th, 2025. The main character is filled with joy to learn the date. They have reawakened on the day of the awakening 3 years ago. Just then, a sharp and precise voice sounds from behind them. Your performance is the worst on the team. You're fired. You're in the finance department to sell your paycheck. You don't need to come back this afternoon. The main character looks at the person who seems like a clown and suddenly smiles, recognizing their former boss. In their previous life, this scoundrel of a boss became a demon after awakening their talent, harvesting the organs and lives of ordinary people in exchange for resources. Seeing that the main character does not dare to retort, the boss continues muttering insults. The main character pays no attention and simply turns around to leave. In their previous life, they fought with the manager after being mocked, which led to their arrest and detention for 10 days, causing them to miss the first and most crucial wave of opportunities in the era of global reclassification. An orphan since childhood, they were raised by a thief, but what people didn't know was that the brother who raised them, though a thief, was the light in their dark life. Their brother was also an orphan, and being too young to find work, had to turn to theft to support the protagonist. Although they were not blood-related, their bond was stronger than that of biological siblings. In their past life, their brother was sentenced to 15 years in prison for their crimes, but was released early due to awakening a high-level talent and making an important contribution. Lin Luo gradually became strong with the help of their brother. Once, Lin Luo accidentally killed someone and joyfully discovered that their talent level directly ascended to that of the person they had killed. Their brother warned them to never kill intentionally or their relationship would be broken. For Lin Luo, their brother naturally mattered more than gaining power. However, the kindness of their brother did not have a good end in that chaotic and dark era. They did not die at the hands of beasts or in dungeons, but at the hands of their own kind. Lin Luo quickly left the hardware store, loaded with the tools he would use for his next Lin Luo. His gaze grew colder and colder. If good deeds go unrewarded, then he might as well become a villain. Only by being worse than the villains can he completely bury those who have wronged him and truly take the reins of his own destiny. Linux returned to the office and hid in the men's restroom. Soon the moment of global awakening arrived, as he remembered from Lin Luo of the blue planet. Welcome to the new era. From this moment on, the blue planet will open up various levels of dungeons and secret realms in different locations. Upon awakening your talents, entering these places will awaken your combat professions. Congratulations! You have acquired the F-level talent, Plunder, or 1% of their talent effects. Having been reborn before the start of the new era, He clearly knows all the famous dungeon cleaning methods and the locations of opportunities in all the secret realms. And most importantly, he knows how to quickly raise his talent to the SSS level. In this new life, he intends to completely reverse all the frustrations of his past life. Suddenly, the voice of director Wang Yichao comes from outside the bathroom. Chao Mei, I have awakened the S-level talent of healing herbs. If you stay with me, you will definitely have a good life. Lin Luo's face turns grim. He was hiding here precisely to wait for Wang Yichao. This would be the first target he would plunder. Lin Luo violently strangles the director from behind with a rope. The overwhelming sensation of suffocation and pain completely terrorizes the director. Suddenly, a green figure leaps out of Wang Yichao's body, a special form called a substitute, which only those with S-level talents can manifest. It immediately begins to heal Wang Yichao's neck wounds. Unfortunately, the healing speed is clearly slower than the rate of injury. His vital force continues to drain rapidly. He has plundered the opponent's only strength. Your F-level talent has evolved to D-level. His D-level talent has evolved to C-level. Finally, Wang Yichao shows no signs of life. The protagonist's talent directly rose from F-level to S-level. His plundering ability also became an S-level talent with significantly improved effects. Once the talent reaches S-level, he can also manifest his own substitute. With a low cry, Lin Luo ordered, "Come, my substitute." A coal-black figure quickly materialized before his eyes. This imposing figure was wrapped in a threatening cloak. Sharp metal armor with a large black cape, billowing in the wind behind him. It was Lin Luo's S-level substitute, the Dark Emperor. At the same time, an attribute panel appeared before his eyes. Lin Luo was excited to discover that the Dark Emperor's strength, agility, and growth reached the high value of 200. The 200-point mark is the limit that all attributes of an S-level substitute can reach, except for the life value. For SS level, the limit is 400 and for SS level 600. In fact, the Dark Emperor had 3 attributes at their maximum limit. Even in the coming chaotic era, this substitute would be a top-tier entity. Lin Luo ordered the Dark Emperor to dispose of director Wang Yichao's body. He then left the company restroom without a care. Wandering aimlessly through the streets, his normally quiet class group chat had become lively due to the Global Awakening event. "I've awakened an S-level talent, the Wish Book." A message appeared from someone called Looming. Most of the group had only awakened FOD-level talents, but this message caught Lin Luo's attention. Lin Luo remembered that during university, Looming had been a sycophant in his previous life. After awakening his talent, Looming had quickly ended his university love, Fan Manchu. Later, he brutally murdered his former leaders and the inspectors who were pursuing him, finally joining the dark organization known as the Smiling Coffin. Killing such a person and plundering their talents would be a public service. Resolved, the protagonist directly dialed Looming's number. Meanwhile, in a hotel on the other side, a triumphant Looming was examining the attributes of his own substitute. Called the Master of Wishes, this substitute only had the ability to fulfill the guest's wishes. And visibly excited, Looming made his first wish. "I want to completely win over Fang Manchu's body and soul." Hearing this, the Master of Wishes immediately began flipping through a book it had in its hands. An indescribable and dazzling light shone on the pages. "Master, your wish has been fulfilled," it said. Its figure was gradually fading away. Clearly, fulfilling that wish had drained all the energy of the Master of Wishes. An impatient Looming immediately sent a message to Fang Manchu, who had previously been indifferent to him, but now addressed him affectionately. He immediately asked Fang Manchu to put on his favorite black stockings and come see him, and after receiving an affirmative response, Looming burst into shouts of enthusiasm. He couldn't believe how the Global Awakening had transformed him from an ugly duckling into a swan. Just then, Lin Luo's call came in. "Looming, I've discovered a secret about S-level talents." Where are you? I'd like to discuss it in person. Surprised, Lu Ming wondered, have you also awakened a talent at that level? I'm at a hotel. Come here. After hanging up, a sinister look crossed Lu Ming's face. First, I'll get Lin Lu's secret, and then I'll properly enjoy my time with my goddess. 10 minutes later, the protagonist entered the room and carelessly closed the door, inspecting the room. What's the occasion? Said Lu Ming. Didn't you mention a secret about S-level talents? Well, go on. I have a date later. Leaning close to his ear, the protagonist mysteriously began. The secret of the SSS-level talents. Suddenly, a black knight in armor materialized behind Lu Ming, punching him and sending him flying across the room. This punch from the Dark Emperor had 20 times the force of a normal human, immediately causing Lu Ming's facial features to sink in. When he landed on the floor, he had already lost all signs of life. Your S-level talent plunder has been activated. Please choose one of the target's attribute values, talent effects, skill effects, or soul power to plunder, the message appeared. Since Lu Ming was still an ordinary person who had not even entered any instance to obtain a job class, his attribute values were insignificant. He also lacked any skills. Soul power is used to raise the level of one's own talents, but the protagonist was already at an S level. Plundering from Lu Ming would not be enough to raise him to SS level. Considering the current situation, acquiring another S-level talent would be more beneficial for him. This will help him successfully plunder the target's talent. Congratulations! You have acquired the Wish Book talent at the S level. The Wish Book can switch between 3 wishes. Heart's Desire, tempered by battle, increases your hit rate and critical hit rate by 20% and doubles the experience gained from killing enemies. Heart's Desire, Iron Wall, increases the dodge rate by 20% and cancels out any attack of any origin every 10 minutes. Heart's Desire, Good Fortune, multiplies your luck by 10. After acquiring his second S-level talent, the protagonist felt a new surge of power emanating from within. He mentally murmured, "Come, Master of Wishes." A young man dressed in a black robe, holding a massive book, appeared before him. The young man bowed respectfully. "My great master, Master of Wishes, heads or invocations. Any wish you have can be fulfilled by my wish book." Somewhat surprised, the protagonist asked, "Can you communicate directly with me?" "Yes, master. I am a functional type substitute. I'm not an expert in combat, but any wish you have can be fulfilled by my wish book. The simpler the wish, the less it consumes me, the more complex, the more it consumes me. In theory, my wish book can grant any wish. Additionally, my intelligence far surpasses other substitutes and I can help you devise strategies." Immediately, the protagonist asked, "How can I use your abilities most efficiently?" After pondering for a moment, the Master of Wishes responded, "I believe the most efficient use would be to request information. Information is immensely valuable, but consumes very little of me." The protagonist, who was also intelligent, quickly understood the reasoning. For example, if you asked me to directly give you a treasure hidden in a secret realm, that would consume a lot of my energy. However, if you just asked me where that treasure is, the consumption will be minimal. The Master of Wishes praised, "Master, you are truly intelligent." At that moment, the Dark Emperor had returned after taking care of the body. The protagonist noticed a clock with a single hand embedded in the Dark Emperor's chest, and quickly asked, "Does the appearance of a substitute have anything to do with its abilities?" The Master of Wishes confirmed, "Yes, Master. The form of the substitute is related to its abilities and the unique state of its host." The protagonist's heart raced. The Dark Emperor's substitute's abilities obviously had nothing to do with time. Could it be due to his reincarnation? He kept this thought in the back of his mind and left the room. His plundering talent had entered a one-day cooldown period. It was time to explore some dungeons and secret realms. As he walked, he encountered Fan Manchu, who was wearing a short skirt and black stockings. He muttered to himself, "Why have I sent so many repulsive messages to this sycophant? I should block him immediately. This is so nauseating." The protagonist ignored her and headed to the hotel reception. He not only paid a 7-day extension for Luming's room, but also instructed the staff not to allow cleaning, as his friend liked peace and quiet. Meanwhile, in a skyscraper in Hank City, a surprisingly handsome young man looked at his substitute, the Time King, with a frustrated expression. "Where is your white clock? And why is the time point you traveled back to a week later than expected?" The Time King's substitute, a girl in a blue and white dress, timidly responded, "While traveling through time, an unknown entity stole part of my power. This caused a deviation in the time point." The young man angrily retorted, "I paid an enormous price, and yet something went wrong." This young man, named Yuta Ijiya, had awakened an SSS-level talent for time travel as soon as the Universal Awakening era began. Thanks to this talent, he had risen to become one of the guardian deities. He only ventured into the cracks of space-time, where he encountered an adversary that made him lose all hope, a tribe without logic. In the end, he exerted all his strength to activate time travel, not hesitating to reduce the Time King's energy limit from 40 to 40, just to escape and travel back in time. Unfortunately, instead of going back a week before the awakening, he arrived only a few hours after the awakening, and even lost some of the Time King's power related to the second hand. Suddenly, the Time King closed her eyes and felt something. Then she spoke joyfully, "Master, I can feel the power of the second hand. It seems to be with someone in Hang City." Yuta Taiji asked in surprise, "Why would your power end up with someone else?" After pondering for a moment, the Time King responded, "It seems that individual has forcefully taken it." Yuta Taiji looked serious. "If he could take your power during time travel, he must be extraordinarily strong, since you are not skilled in combat. Let's not rush to find him. For now, let's focus on overcoming some more dungeons and reconnecting with our old comrades. We can settle accounts with this thief later." Meanwhile, near a hotel at an intersection, a 10-meter long and wide dungeon entrance was slowly spinning. The government had issued an official notice warning people to be cautious when entering the dungeons, advising teams of at least 5 people. Many curious onlookers had gathered around, some even taking photos. Although everyone expressed great interest in the dungeon, no one dared to be the first to enter. Just then, the protagonist emerged from the crowd and walked towards the dungeon entrance. This immediately caused a commotion among the spectators. With a familiar look at the dungeon, the protagonist smiled. "In my previous life, I hesitated to enter this dungeon. In this life, I will conquer it." As soon as he entered the dungeon, a notice sounded in Lin Luo's ears. "Your body is being stored as data. Any injuries you suffer in the dungeon will be fully healed upon exit. If you die within the dungeon, you will be resurrected and sent out. After 3 deaths, you will no longer be resurrected. Choose one of the following 6 basic professions." In his previous life, Lin Luo had chosen the simple warrior profession, but now, with 2 S-level talents and a substitute, he naturally wanted to change to a profession that suited him better. With that in mind, he summoned the Master of Wishes and asked for recommendations on these professions. After considerable contemplation, the Master of Wishes recommended the mage profession to Lin Luo. It explained that with a 95% probability, Lin Luo could advance to the hidden mage benefit profession at level 20, using the S-level Wish Talent Book as a guide. Furthermore, since Lin Luo had the protection of the Dark Emperor, the inherent weakness of the mage in close combat would not be a concern. Intrigued, Lin Luo had not realized that an S-level talent could lead him to a hidden profession. After all, in his previous life, he was nothing more than an F-level nobody. Lin Luo then asked, "If I choose the mage profession and use the plundering talent as a guide for the second ascension, what hidden profession will I obtain?" The Master of Wishes quickly responded, "I do not recommend using plundering as a guide. you would end up being a hybrid mage melee, which would be inconvenient. Lin Luo was wondering if it was his imagination or if the Master of Wishes seemed a bit partial, always recommending himself. However, Lin Luo was clear that his main talent was looting and his actions should align primarily with the Dark Emperor. Given the strengths of the Dark Emperor, his power and agility, the profession of assassin would fit better. After reflecting for a moment, Lin Luo asked again if the assassin's son is the basic profession and used the S-level talent loot for the second promotion. What profession will I become? A flash of surprise crossed the eyes of the Master of Wishes. You would probably become a roguish outlaw, maximizing the advantages of the looting talent. However, I still recommend choosing the Prophet Mage profession, as the profession is more elegant and easier to carry. In the face of the Master of Wishes' response, Lin Luo's determination solidified. The next moment, he directly chose the assassin profession. You have become an assassin. Now a tribute panel is generated. When the announcement was over, Lin Luo's attributes began to change. And at the same time he acquired a large number of skills exclusive to assassins. The balancing is now the scaling, he thought. Indeed, Assassin and Dark Emperor are the perfect pair. At that moment, another announcement sounded. Please select your dungeon exploration team. The maximum number of team members is 5. Without hesitation, Lin Luo chose to enter alone. The combat ability of Dark Emperor was already equivalent to that of a 20 to 30 level elite player. There was no need for a team, no need for a team. The dungeon was called Goblin Slayer. The difficulties ranged from easy, normal, hard to nightmare. Full of confidence, Lin Luo chose the highest difficulty, Nightmare. The next moment, he found himself in a dark forest, facing 50 red-eyed goblins holding clubs, ready to attack. Lin Luo invoked the Dark Emperor and empowered him with Heart's Desire. 100 battles, immediately increasing his critical hit rate by 20%. The Dark Emperor calmly approached the approaching goblins, at a speed indiscernible to the human eye, through 50 consecutive strikes. The goblins died instantly, becoming experience points for Lin Luo. He gained 2,250 experience points. Due to the deaths of monsters above the level and the effect of Heart's Desire, in 100 battles, Lin Luo received a 700% increase in experience for each kill, allowing him to instantly level up from level 1 to level 6. Each time Lin Luo levels up he can get 4 free attribute points and 2 free skill points. Reaching level 6 gives him a total of 20 attribute points and 10 skill points. Based on his experience in his past life, Lin Luo immediately chooses to allocate 16 points to agility and 4 points to strength. He puts the 10 skill points into agility-related speed skills. His reasoning is simple. Speed skills can reduce the consumption of stamina during movement and combat. Many people in their past life chose powerful attack skills like Shadow Hunt and Ghost Slash, only to find that the loss of stamina in the dungeons was a major problem. That's why he knows that the best thing to do is to invest in fast skills. Lin Luo, leading the Dark Emperor, reaches the second phase of the dungeon. The monsters here are significantly higher level than before. But under the effects of Heart's Desire, 100 battles, Linux continues to level up to level 7. Soon they reach the final phase of the dungeon, where the Goblin Guardian, the boss, awaits them. Upon entering, Linux sees a few goblins assaulting female human NPCs. What enrages him seems to sense the emotions of his host, and becomes even more ferocious. Kill the strongest goblin next to the boss instantly. When the goblin leader dies, all the other goblins run towards Lin Luo. Fortunately, Lin Luo is agile and dodges all attacks under the protection of the Dark Emperor. Faced with a swarm of goblins, the Dark Emperor takes the front line. His attack power is overwhelming. In 30 seconds, only the Guardian Goblin remains. Despite his intimidating roar, the Dark Emperor is not intimidated and defeats him with a single punch. The three goblins from the second half of the dungeon provide Lin Hu with 9,700 experience points, raising his level to 9. The next moment, hundreds of golden lights emerge from the goblins' corpses, forming an energy vortex. Lin Luo knows that the dungeon chest is about to appear. He quickly switches Heart's Desire, 100 battles to Heart's Desire. Good fortune, multiplying your luck by 10. A golden chest begins to form in front of him. You have successfully eliminated the goblin nest. Your dungeon score is 1,500 points. Congratulations on receiving an epic gold level chest. Lin Luo smiles in satisfaction. As he had predicted, the damage and cleanup time determine the basic score, while the number of players and levels can increase or decrease the score. Depending on the different scores, the chest rating varies. Normally, even at the highest nightmare difficulty level, one could only obtain an iron chest in this low-level dungeon. However, under the effects of Heart's Desire, Good Fortune, it jumps 8 levels to receive an epic gold chest. The loot is extraordinarily good. Lin Luo is incredibly excited. He quickly opens the chest in front of him, and for a moment the dazzling colors of various items blind him. The chest is full of high-level healing potions and countless pieces of equipment. What used to be a coveted silver level set in his previous life now seems like trash. Among them, the best are 2 gold level pieces, suitable for an assassin. Indeed, multiplying luck by 10 has paid off. He carefully examines the attributes of a gold level short sword, which not only offers 40 more attack points compared to the same level bronze weapons, but also includes a bleeding effect. It is the perfect weapon for the early stages of the dungeons. He also collects a gold level light armor. That not only increases the maximum health, but also reduces damage, another excellent piece. Just then, a notification sounds. The game character data has been saved correctly. Please give your character a name. The game name will be displayed during your explorations of dungeons and secret realms. A smile spreads across Lin Luo's lips. Let's call him Dark Emperor, he decides. Global announcement. Congratulations to the player Dark Emperor for becoming the first person in the world to solo clear a nightmare-level dungeon. Reward 110 spins on the Wheel of Fate. The world erupts in discussions. Everyone is discussing who the Dark Emperor is, and what the Wheel of Fate means. Meanwhile, Yuta and Jia's faces turn bitter. The history he knew has changed. He clearly remembers that in his previous life, the first nightmare-level dungeon was cleared by a player called Grey Wolf late that night, who quickly became the Time King. Are you sure time travel won't alter history? The Time King responds seriously. Master, time travel allows the soul to return to its previous body. It will not affect the history at all. There are 2 possibilities. First, the Dark Emperor of this world has taken power and grown stronger, then cleared the dungeon. The second is that the future Emperor has seized your power and traveled to the present, and then cleared the dungeon. The voice indicates to the spy to first confirm Lin Luo's movements, and then investigate this woman. After saying this, the spy immediately follows Lin Luo closely. Suddenly, to his astonishment, Lin Luo turns around and heads in his direction. Lin Luo wants to find out who is behind the harassment. The explorer's anxiety reaches a climax as he tries to maintain composure, hastily passing him a token and hurriedly leaving, but then an imposing figure blocks his path. The Dark Emperor strikes the explorer, sending him flying. Lin Luo's face turns sinister. He speaks. Who sent you? The explorer tries to explain. I'm just a passerby. You must have confused me with someone else. Why are you attacking me for no reason? Lin Luo grabs the earring and inspects it closely. Ah, so you're from the Assembly of 8 Heads. This immediately puts Lin Luo on high alert. According to the timeline of his past life, the Assembly of 8 Heads should not appear before him so soon. Lin Luo grabs the explorer's face again. I'll give you one more chance. State your purpose. Seeing that the explorer continues to play dumb, Lin Luo realizes that more extreme measures are needed. Scouts from the Assembly of Eight Heads are known for their resistance to questioning, and continuing the interrogation would be a waste of time. He summons the Master of Wishes, wishing for the explorer to reveal his intentions. The explorer's eyes go blank and he begins to speak. My name is Zoom Lang. I am a loyal subordinate of Bai Hong Line, one of the leaders of the Assembly of Eight Heads. We recruited a beautiful woman at the noodle shop. We were given information about a strong individual named Lin Luo. I was ordered to track down Lin Luo and also investigate a woman named Wen Yushi. This Wen Yushi is the weak point of Lin Luo. Our leader plans to use her to threaten Lin Luo into becoming a loyal subordinate of the Eight-Headed Assembly. A cold gleam appears in Lin Luo's eyes. He never expected that the Eight-Headed Assembly had recruited Kim Kelly and that this woman would be so merciless. In the third year of the disaster of his previous life, Wayne Nusi had been killed by Bai Honglei. To avenge her, Lin Luo had risked his life and undergone various adventures to improve his skills, only to be despised and die at the hands of monsters. Now, it seems he must eliminate Bai Honglei before the Eight-Headed Assembly locates Gwen Yusher. But first he needs to complete his second job transfer, which will give him the confidence to kill Bai Honglei. After having Dark Emperor dispose of the explorer's body, Lin Luo summons the Master of Wishes. He wonders how long he can guarantee the safety of Wingju if he requests such a wish. The Master of Wishes responds respectfully. Master, with my current abilities, I can guarantee her safety for a maximum of 24 hours. Lin Luo thinks about it for a moment. 24 hours should be enough for him to complete his second job transfer. He then makes the wish and heads to the Assassin's Guild, relying on his memories from his past life. Lin Luo quickly locates the guild, a massive silver prism. Upon arrival, he rushes in. After a change in lighting and scenery, he finds himself in a European-style room. A refined middle-aged man is sipping tea delicately. Ah, a traveler from afar. Are you here to seek high-level secrets? Lin Luo knows this is Desmond, the second-class advancement instructor. And he respectfully responds, Yes, instructor, please guide me. With a wave of Desmond's hand, the door behind Lin Luo bursts open. It lets in howling winds and snow. He sees the snowy forest and is tasked to kill 30 black snowmen and a penguin king. Bring me their IDs, the horns of the snowman, and the beak of the penguin king. Lin Luo steps through the wooden door into the icy tundra. The cold is intense and can affect combat. Suddenly, he hears a noise behind him. Turning around, he finds a massive black snowman that seems to have appeared from nowhere. A huge fist crashes towards him. Dark Emperor, hidden nearby, leaps to intercept the blow. Lin Luo didn't expect the monsters in this secret realm of second-class advancement to resort to ambushes. He spots a blue crystal horn atop the black snowman's head, which must be the mission's target. He orders Dark Emperor to go all out and eliminates the black snowman with a single punch. The snowman's body slowly melts, leaving only the horn embedded in the snow. Lin Luo retrieves the search object, but then the ground around him starts to tremble. From the distance, the sound of heavy footsteps approaches. Soon, he is surrounded by a horde of gigantic black snowmen. Lin Luo does not give in to panic. Instead, he unsheathes a short sword. He knows the true battle has just begun. The black snowmen are not fast. Focusing their attacks, Lin Luo and the Dark Emperor swiftly dispatch them. The black snowmen cannot withstand the combined assault and die instantly, turning into horns. The second black snowman charges with a roar, but before it can react, its two arms are severed by the combined efforts of Lin Luo and Dark Emperor. Lin Luo, with the help of the Dark Emperor, leaps into the air and bisects it. He then activates his skill, Earth Shatter, causing the ground to break into pieces and stunning the other black snowmen. Lin Luo shouts, ordering the Dark Emperor to quickly finish them off. Dark Emperor rushes into the crowd of snowmen with a dance of fury, piercing their bodies. The dazed black snowmen offer no resistance, and quickly fall one by one before the fists of the Dark Emperor. For now, Lin Luo has collected 37 horns, more than enough for his class advancement task. However, he realizes that the number of black snowmen seems to be increasing incessantly, which seems very strange to him. Without him seeing, a small penguin with a golden crown quietly absorbs red wine. It is the one directing the black snowmen to continuously attack the protagonist with a gentle order from the Penguin King. Spirits fly out of the corpses of the snowmen. When Lin Luo tries to catch them, they slip through his fingers like water and fly quickly towards the top of the mountain. All the spirits gather in the hands of the Penguin King, only to return along their original path. Confused Lingua watches as the spirits re-enter the corpses of the snowmen, and the previously defeated black snowmen roar back to life, realizing why there seems to be endless waves of them. Lin skillfully evades their attacks and quickly leads the Dark Emperor towards the top of the mountain, sensing imminent danger. The Penguin King uses his special ability, called the King's Call. The surrounding black snowmen suddenly went frantic, accelerating their pursuit of Lin Luo. The Dark Emperor grabs Lin Luo and accelerates towards the top of the mountain. Then he throws him forward. Lin Luo raises his short sword and splits the Penguin King in half, obtaining the final mission item, the Penguin King's beak. With the death of the Penguin King, all the black snowmen begin to melt. Weathering the snowstorm, Lin Luo returns to the wooden cabin. Seeing him return, Desmond's face immediately shows an expression of admiration. "Young man, your strength has earned my recognition. I can sense enormous potential within you. The 3 standard second-level assassin classes I offer may not be the limit of your potential. Are you willing to seek your own path?" Lin Luo realizes that this is likely the hidden class the Master of Wishes had mentioned. He immediately says he is very willing to pursue it. Desmond stands up, his eyes serious as he explains that beyond the standard second-level classes, there are innumerable hidden classes. However, the risk of failing the transition to these classes could endanger one's life. Linux knows that second-class advancement is extremely crucial and is willing to take any risk. Seeing Lin Luo's determination, Desmond bursts into laughter, admiring the young man more and more. He begins to wave his hands, saying that since Lin Luo is willing to overcome his limits, he will guide his spirit towards the void. The class he advances to will depend on his own choice. He warns him not to linger too long in the void out of greed for power, or he will be lost forever. Suddenly, a mysterious force penetrates Lin Luo's mind, taking his consciousness to an unknown void, where he loses all senses for a long time. Gradually, he regains his vision and sees an endless void. Suddenly, a red pillar of light appears before him, followed by other pillars of different colors. When he extends his hand towards the red pillar, information appears: outlaw, exclusive skills, anarchy, shadow, and light game. This is the hidden job the Master of Wishes had recommended. Then, he puts his hand on a blue pillar. Shadowman, exclusive skills, shadow clone, shadow sewing, and shadow curse. The attributes and skills of a Shadowman job are significantly better than those of the outlaw. Realizing that the colors of the pillars indicate the quality of the jobs, Lin Luo turns his attention to a golden pillar. Sticking his hand in, a huge window appears. Legendary job, Storm Swordsman, exclusive skills, Sonic Sword Breath, Wind Blade, and Infinite Sword Energy. Lin Luo was surprised. This level of job is extremely rare. He had not even heard of legendary jobs in his past life. If he could make this transition, facing an evil organization like the Assembly of Eight Heads would be easy. Suddenly, Lin Luo has a thought. Why did the Master of Wishes hide this job from me? He immediately summons the Master of Wishes, abruptly asking why he was deceived. The Master of Wishes quickly explains that he would not dare to deceive him. Choosing the outlaw with outlaw was the safest decision according to his exhaustive evaluation. The data shows that Lin Luo's looting talent has only a 1% compatibility rate with the Storm Swordsman, and the success rate of the job transition is even lower, at 0.5%. Hearing this, Lin Luo calms down, acknowledging that the success rate is indeed too low. The Master of Wishes continues, saying that the Shadow Man's job has a 22% talent compatibility and a 9% success rate, which, although much higher than that of the Storm Swordsman, is still very risky. Curious, Lin Luo asked for the data on the Outlaw without Law. The Master of Wishes shows him the data, a talent compatibility of 89% and an amazing 98% success rate in the job transition. Seeing this, Lin Luo realizes that he misunderstood the Master of Wishes. His assessment was correct in terms of the safest option, but who says I want to make the safest choice? Since I'm here, I'm going for the highest reward. The Master of Wishes is left speechless, not knowing how to respond. Lin Luo pats him on the shoulder. From now on, inform me of the pros and cons of each choice. Don't make decisions for me, understood? He then turns towards the golden pillar before entering. He asks the Master of Wishes one more question. If the talent compatibility is only 1%, does that mean that if I succeed, I will have 100% of the power of this job? The Master of Wishes confirms that yes, if you succeed, you will have 100% of its power. But if you fail, in the best case, you will suffer mental fatigue for 20 days. In the worst case, you could lose your life. The Hindu's expression becomes cold. 20 days of mental fatigue is essentially the same as being dead to me. I would fall very far behind the others. And most importantly, I won't be able to save Sister One in 24 hours. He smiles confidently. Master of Wishes, you may be smart, but have you forgotten yourself when calculating the success percentages? I desire a successful transition to Storm Swordsman. With that, he enters the golden pillar. The hands of the Book of Wishes and the Master of Wishes begin to flip through the pages. Moments later, he says respectfully, "Honored Master, your wish has been granted." Instantly, innumerable pieces of information about the Storm Swordsman flooded Lin Luo's mind. At this moment, Desmond is watching Lin Luo closely. The Storm Swordsman is an ancient and legendary occupation that has been lost for years. Even the most powerful SSS-level talent might not succeed in the transition. This will be interesting, he amuses. Lin Luo is now in the process of inheriting the legendary occupation of Storm Swordsman. His mind is filled like a tidal wave with all the information related to it. To inherit the ancient legacy of the Storm Swordsman, one must infinitely approach the understanding of the essence of the storm. Loyal to the wind, loyal to the sword. Death always accompanies me, but I do not fear it. Hold the sword with the heart, and listen to the whisper of the wind. The wind is the sword, and the sword is the wind. The more the storm sword strikes, the more intense it becomes. Only by facing death can one be invincible. This is the only true warrior among the assassins, the Storm Swordsman. At first, with the help of the Master of Wishes, Lin Luo does his best to absorb the information. However, as time passes in the void, the Master of Wishes' energy is depleted and his form gradually fades. He needs to enter a sleep state to slowly recover. Lin Luo is now alone to accept the legacy. Inevitably, his spirit weakens and he collapses in the void, losing consciousness. The job transition to Storm Swordsman continues. Desmond watches Lin Luo closely. Storm Swordsman is a job of legends. I have never seen anyone succeed in this transition in my life. Suddenly, Lin Luo's body collapses to the ground, eyes closed and face contorted. This is a sign of failure in the job transition. Desmond mutters, "He could be lost in the void forever." He shakes his head. "The young are always too ambitious. I hope failing this time will teach them a lesson. Normally, only those with SSS-level talent can successfully transition to a legendary occupation. For someone with S-level talent like you, even getting a hidden job would have been an excellent achievement." Just then, a global announcement sounds. The world's first secondary job transition has occurred. Desmond smiles. What a pity! If you hadn't been so greedy and chosen a simpler job, you could have been the first. Now someone has beaten you to it. Lin Luo wakes up in a familiar wooden cabin and hears Desmond's words. He rises with difficulty. His eyes shine with excitement. How do you know that the world's first is not me? A surprised Desmond asks incredulously. What do you mean? Have you really succeeded? Linux is still weak, but he takes a high-level stamina recovery potion. His condition improves significantly, recovering close to 80% of his stamina and spirit. Desmond is at a loss for words. This is incredible. How did you do it? Can you share your talent with me? I promise to keep the secret. Lin Luo does not answer. Instead, he asks curiously, Aren't you hot, instructor? Desmond realizes that his cigarette has fallen and ignited the carpet, and the fire has reached his crotch. With help, he jumps to put out the fire. Lin Luo takes this opportunity to leave the cabin. He has a lot to do and no time to waste. Once outside the Assassin's League, he realizes it is already night. The job change has taken him 5 hours. He checks his phone and sees 4 unread messages from Gene Kelly, inviting him to eat tomorrow at a specific restaurant, using the rescue as a pretext. Lin Luo knows very well that it is not out of kindness. It must be a trap set by the 8-headed assembly. However, Bai Hongli's house is also nearby. An opportunity like this, reaching her doorstep, is one he will not refuse. At this moment, Bai Honglei is discussing the meaning of life with Gene Kelly. Suddenly, the ringing of a phone interrupts their intimate conversation. After reading the message, Bai Honglei gets extraordinarily excited. He did not expect Lin Luo to agree. Even though the time and place were changed, those are not important problems for him. Ignoring the disapproving look from Chinkeling, he quickly gets dressed to head to the agreed location. Chinkeling's resentment towards Linux deepens, always ruining his plans. But no one knows. At this moment, the announcement of the transfer of the first second-level job position resounded throughout the world. A new message appeared on the mysterious stone tablet, when the first holder of a second-level job position on the blue planet emerges. 24 hours later, in the real world, a catastrophe at the rat level will occur. All the scientists responsible for the blue planet's tombstone change color, and immediately send this message to the desks of the top authorities of the 5 most important countries. Everyone is making conjectures about what this rat-level catastrophe really is. After intense discussions, the 5 great powers of the blue planet issue a statement. Everyone must cease all outdoor activities 24 hours later. A global curfew is imposed and everyone must stay at home awaiting further notices. At that moment, Lin Luo, who is waiting by the sea for Bai Honglei, is unaware that his job transfer has caused such a great impact. He also receives the official announcement. Of course, he knows why the curfew is being imposed, but in his memory, the first worldwide catastrophe at the rat level would occur 5 days later. Why has it advanced so much this time? The first wave of rat-level disasters in his previous life. It was an interdimensional insect disaster. Monster levels mostly ranged from 1 to 20. This insect disaster was an opportunity for the awakened, because killing insects grants 4 times more experience points. Several large guilds became prominent after this insect disaster. However, for ordinary people with little talent, this insect disaster was lethal and lasted 15 full days. From then on, the social order collapsed and the world entered an era of chaos. In my previous life, I could not protect those who had protected me. I was always a burden to them. In this life, I finally have the ability to protect them. I had a very confusing childhood, every time I was bullied. It was my sister who defended me. She really taught me a lot. My brother effectively stole from a Lin family. But after they discovered our circumstances, Not only did they not hold a grudge, but they continually cared about my growth. Mr. and Mrs. 1 have always treated me like a son. Every important moment in my life has the figure of Sister 1. They were the happiest moments of my life. But when Sister 1 needed protection the most, I was not by her side. The main culprit of all this is Bai Honglei. In this life I will kill you first. In a speeding car, Bai Honglei and 2 others are heading to the agreed location. Suddenly, his phone rings. After looking at the caller ID, his pupil contracts slightly. He cautiously answers the call. Immediately, the stern voice of an elderly man reaches through the phone. Gong Ben. Recently, the chosen among you must gather. Report your talents to Mr. Gunthin. Bai Honglei responds respectfully. It turns out that Bai Honglei's original name is Guntens. His family has been the secret guard of the royal family of our country for generations. When our country was destroyed a year ago, he was escorting Princess Jackie of our country to an event abroad. Therefore, he narrowly escaped. Afterwards, he followed the surviving members of the royal family to take refuge with the business group of our country in each country. A large number of our compatriots in each country, under the organization of the surviving royals, formed the Restoration Organization, the Assembly of 8 Heads. Now that everyone is awakening, multiple S-level or higher talents have emerged in the Assembly of 8 Heads. Even the big shot of the Assembly of 8 Heads, Gong Ben, has awakened a rare SSS-level talent. This has made the Assembly of 8 Heads begin to get restless. At this moment, Bai Honglei's hand trembles as he answers the phone call. Because the elder of the clan informed him that the engagement ceremony of Princess Jackie and Lord Gong Ben will be held next month. They were asked to gather as much ascending spiritual crystal as possible for the celebration. Bai Honglei grips his phone tightly. Princess Jackie has always been the woman he considers his, but now she is going to get engaged to Gong Ben, who is an SSS-level talent awakener. He has no chance against him. The only solution is to raise his own talent to the SSS level before next month's engagement. This will require many ascending spirit crystals. For him, people with some ability like Lin Luo are perfect crystal miners. Thinking this, he immediately orders Chen Kellen to bring more people tomorrow to control when you see them at all hours. As long as he controls when you see, whether Lin Luo is willing tonight or not. He has to work for him. Then Bai Honglei continues. I won't show up later. You'll know what to say when you meet that Lin Luo. I don't need to teach you. You're a smart girl, bring out your best skills. Upon arriving at the agreed beach, Chin Kelly sees Lin Luo resting on the sand. She is very sure of her beauty. Even the master of ceremonies has fallen for her. She doesn't believe she can handle a Lin Luo. Pretending to be cheerful, Jean Kelly runs up and jumps towards Lin Luo. Lin Luo quickly steps back with a stern face, dodging her dive. Manhwaedit Chinklin says, Brother Luo, you hurt me. Lin Luo has no time for her acting and coldly asks, Where is Bai Honglei? Sinklin is shocked inside. How does he know the name of the master of ceremonies? Then she plays dumb and says, Brother Luo, what are you talking about? It's me who invited you here today. Lin Luo's eyes turn cold and he says, Bai Honglei, the master of ceremonies of your 8-headed assembly. Avoiding his gaze, Chinkeling responds, I joined the 8-headed assembly, but I haven't met the master of ceremonies. I've only heard his name. Seeing the situation, Lin Luo stops wasting time with her. He grabs his phone and starts looking for Bai Honglei's number. Kim Kelly hurries to follow him and continues to explain. I really haven't met any Bai Honglei, but the reason I invited you here is actually to invite you to join the 8-headed assembly. It's a good backing. If you join, all resources, connections, money, and even I myself will be yours. You can have everything you want. Bai Honglei, who has been waiting for a message, sees that Chinkelin is calling and hurries to ask. How's the situation? It's been so long without news. Lin Luo, on the other end of the phone, lets out a cold laugh. You won't be able to give me news again because I've killed her. Bai Hong feels a tightness in his chest. Are you Lin Luo? Get out. Bai Hongli, I know you're near. Bai Hongli looks surprised at his disconnected phone. How does Lin Luo know of my existence? Has Chen Kellen betrayed me? Chen Kellen sees Lin Luo throw his phone into the sea and says timidly, So you knew from the beginning. A moment later, Bai Hongli also arrives at the beach. You are truly a talent that I, Bai Hongli, value. You are exceptional. Behind my assembly of 8 heads, let me take you to achieve great things. Lin Luo snorts coldly. Great things, he refers to his restoration plan, contents. Bai Hongli feels as if he had been struck by lightning. How do you know? Who are you? Lin Luo slowly draws his short sword. Each of you deserves to die. The figure of the Dark Emperor appears directly behind him and launches a punch at Bai Hongli. The punch is indescribably fast, coming to displace the air with a violent howl. Suddenly, a large black umbrella protects Bai Hongli. The explosive fist of Dark Emperor rains down like a storm on the umbrella. It turns out that Bai Hongli has reacted at the right moment. He summons his substitute, Lady Kaguya, to block all the attacks for him. Lady Kaguya is a young maid-dressed woman wearing a demonic mask and a large black umbrella. Although she blocked the first wave of attacks from the Dark Emperor, his offensive was too fierce. Bai Hongli could clearly feel Lady Kaguya's energy being depleted rapidly. He urgently tells Lady Kaguya to retreat quickly and not take the blows. Following his order, the figure of Lady Kaguya flickers as she quickly retreats. Dark Emperor closely follows her, unleashing relentless attacks from all angles. At this moment, Lin Luo is very surprised. The opponent's substitute can actually keep up with the speed of the Dark Emperor, and her defense is incredibly high. Could this seemingly delicate girl be a defensive-type substitute? Bai Hongli looks gloomily at Lin Luo. You can't even break my substitute's defense. And you want to kill me? Lin Luo's voice shows no emotion. My Dark Emperor may not be able to break your defense, but that doesn't mean he can't kill you. If the host dies, even the most formidable substitute is meaningless. Lin Luo knows that he can no longer hide his power. He must take down his opponent as soon as possible. Bai Hongli also feels a great urgency at this moment. Although Lady Kaguya is not injured, her energy is continuously decreasing. If she changes to another form, the chances of defeating her opponent are still high. Both sides know that this battle must be resolved quickly. Bai Hongli immediately orders Lady Kaguya to change to the Rainy Night sword form, and kill him and his substitute. Lady Kaguya's umbrella suddenly folds and transforms into a long sword, cutting towards Dark Emperor like light and electricity. At the same time, Lin Luo makes a wish to the Master of Wishes. The next blow of the Dark Emperor will surely strike. The host cannot dodge. Dark Emperor quickly faces Lady Kaguya's blow without any intention of dodging, clearly planning to receive the blow only to surpass Lady Kaguya, and simultaneously aims a punch at Bai Hongli. Bai Hongli's pupils shrink to pinpoints. Alarms go off in his head. He did not expect the target to be himself. At that moment, Bai Hongli makes a bold decision. Lady Kaguya directly kills the Hindu. Upon receiving the order, the slender figure of Lady Kaguya instantly passes in front of the Dark Emperor and quickly approaches the Iluo. Time seems to slow down at this moment. Both Lady Kaguya and Dark Emperor ignore each other and attack the other's hosts. Dark Emperor's punch lands squarely on Bai Hongli's face. It throws him into the air before he falls to the ground several times and stops. At the same time, Lady Kaguya fiercely brandishes her sword towards Lin Luo, struggling to get up due to Hongli's taunts. How could a fist overcome a long sword? Goodbye, Lin Luo. However, the next moment, the figure of Lin Luo vanishes before Lady Kaguya's eyes. The agile Lady Kaguya, comparable to the Dark Emperor, surprisingly sways in the empty air by simply changing her face. How is this possible? How could an ordinary person have this kind of reaction and speed? The figure of Lin Luo slowly appears behind him, having advanced to the legendary profession of storm swordsman. Lin Luo is much stronger than Bei Hongao I had imagined, even without the help of a substitute. A cruel smile forms at the corner of the Hindu's mouth. I admit you're a bit different, quick reactions, strong substitution skills. But sadly, in this world, the strong live and the weak die. The Dark Emperor blinks in front of Bai Honglin and punches him to the ground. Looking at the lifeless Bai Honglin, Lin Luo feels a relief in his heart. The revenge for Sister Wingju in his past life has finally been avenged. He directly activates his S-rank talent. Plunder, targeting Bai Hongli's body. Your S-rank talent, Plunder, has been activated. Please choose one of the target's attributes, talent effect, skill effect, or soul strength to plunder. Lin Luo thinks for a moment. None of my current talents are particularly strong. What I need most now are more S-rank or higher talents. The cost-benefit ratio of the other options is too low, so Lin Luo decides to plunder the target's talent effect. Congratulations! You have acquired the S-rank talent, Rainy Night. When it rains, you can protect all detection under the umbrella. At night, you can directly manipulate the weather to create a small rain zone. On a rainy night, Lady Kagaya's attack speed increases by 20%. A beautiful young woman dressed as a maid appears by his side, with a black umbrella on her shoulder. Her delicate face shows a respectful expression, and her short skirt reveals a pair of straight and slender legs. Her appearance is clearly different from the Lady Kagaya summoned by Bai Honglin. Even the facial features are subtly different. Lin Lu now understands the core of the S-rank talent. Rainy Night is this young woman called Lady Kagaya. On its own, Rainy Night is quite weak, apart from its detection shielding effect. However, when combined with Lady Kagaya, it becomes strong. In defensive mode, even Dark Emperor, with a 20% hematocrit bonus from Heart's Desire, 100 battles, cannot break through its defense. In attack mode, its attacks not only inflict real damage, but also vastly exceed Dark Emperor's attack speed under Rainy Night. In terms of combat capability, Lady Kagaya is clearly stronger than Dark Emperor. Furthermore, her active range is 20 meters, and her intelligence reaches 30. She can fight autonomously, unlike Dark Emperor, whose intelligence is only 1 and must be handled by him. However, Dark Emperor is not purely a combat substitute. His true strength lies in his ability, leveraged by force. Lin smiles and says, I look forward to working with you in the future. Lady Kagaya bows respectfully. Don't worry, Master, I will protect you. At this moment, a mist rises from my most sacred body. Lin remembers that killing someone has a certain probability of dropping items. The mist slowly condenses, becoming a single lottery ticket for the Wheel of Fate. This allows Lin Lu to complete 2 Tendraw opportunities. He immediately summons the Wish Master, intending to have more chances of obtaining S-rank items. However, he cannot find the Wish Master anywhere. Then he remembers that during his class change, the Wish Master consumed too much energy, and only a little of what he recovered was spent on killing Bai Honglin. He recalls that in the center of the martial arts plaza, there is a secret realm called the Sacred Forest, where rare items can be found to replenish energy. It seems that it is time to take a trip there. Lady Kagaya, who shares Lin Lu's intentions, immediately asks, Master, are we going to the secret realm now? Lin Lu smiles. No. I have a more important place to go. Meanwhile, Princess Jiaqi of Country tries to call Bai Honglin, but no one answers. In her memory, she has never failed to contact Bai Honglin's phone. Suddenly, she has a bad premonition. At that moment, her maid informs her that it is time to meet with Lord Gongan, as agreed by the elders. Jessie feels extremely indecisive. She cannot believe that the elders want to force her to marry Gongan from the 8-headed assembly to restore her country. She regrets a bit having sought refuge with the clan elders after fleeing here. The years she and Baehonglei spent in Country H were the happiest of her life. Back then, there were no Gong Tens or Princess Jiasi, only Baehonglei and Xia Jing. She wishes that Baehonglei would take her away from here to live a quiet life in a small town, without any further ties to the country. She does not want to get involved in these matters anymore, but now, she cannot reach Baehonglei's phone. Baehonglei, where are you now? Finally, Lady Kagaya's first battle has arrived. After taking down Baehong White, Lin Lu led Lady Kagaya to a villa area. He looked pensively at the house in front of him. As one of the hall masters of the Eight-Headed Assembly, the death of Baehonglei would cause a great uproar. With the Eight-Headed Assembly occupied in locating the killer, Guan Yushi should be safe for now. Standing beside him, Lady Kagaya asked curiously, "Is this where the woman the master likes lives? I remember she should be called a girlfriend, right?" Lin Lu's face turned red. "Not yet, but perhaps in the future." Becoming even more curious, Lady Kagaya asked, "The master stayed here all night. She must be very important to the master, right?" Lin Lu exhaled slowly. "You're right. She is very important to me, not just her. My brother is also very important to me. In this life, I must strive to become stronger, to protect those who are most important to me. I won't let the regrets of my previous life repeat themselves. Let's go, Lady Kagaya." They went to level up in the sacred forest. There are also items that can restore the energy of the Wish Master. The two arrived at the martial arts plaza, where two inspectors were guarding the entrance to the sacred forest instance. The instance level was too high, so two inspectors were specially assigned there to prevent impulsive entries. As expected, as soon as Lin Lu approached, one of them immediately warned in a serious tone. "This instance is highly dangerous, requires level 30 or higher, and you cannot abandon it halfway. Don't do anything foolish." Linux knew that talking would not get him in, so he took out his ID. The tall inspector looked at it skeptically and said in a puzzled tone, "Who is Dark Emperor? I don't know him." The short, fat inspector exclaimed in surprise, "Are you the Dark Emperor who has taken down multiple global bounties in a row?" Lin Lu put away his ID and said, "Can I go now?" The short, fat inspector looked at Lady Kagaya next to Lin Lu and suddenly showed a complicit expression. He whispered, "Brother, listen to my advice. Don't lose your life just to show off in front of a girl. Each person can only revive 3 times in the instance. You must cherish it." Lin Lu with a smile. "Thank you for your concern. I am truly confident. Not boasting." The short and chubby inspector observed Lin Lu leading Lady Kagaya to the instance. His face suddenly showed admiration. This young man, with his thin arms and legs, doesn't look like it, but he is so fierce at such an early age. It's a pity. Since ancient times, heroes have fought to surpass the passage of beauty. Once inside the instance, Lady Kagaya showed an incredibly fierce demeanor throughout the journey. Dark Emperor didn't even need to make a move. She alone took down all the monsters, despite appearing very innocent and naive in front of Lin Lu, as if she were a small child untouched by worldly affairs. Her fierceness in combat was no less than that of the Dark Emperor, and unlike the violent aesthetic of the latter, Lady Kagaya's sword handling was light and graceful. Each strike was precise, without superfluities, like a captivating dancer swaying elegantly. Lin Lu watched, enjoying the sight, with his heart racing. He couldn't help but recall the words of the short and chubby inspector about him, boasting with a girl, based on the current situation. It seemed rather that the girl was guiding him. In a short time, Lady Kagaya had killed all the monsters in the area. It was clear that she still wanted more. She begged her master to take her quickly to the next zone. Linux slowly got up from the chaise longue, remembering that the main storyline of this secret kingdom was hundreds of ugly monsters attacking the elf tribe. The player's task was to help the elves defend their camp. In the middle of the plains, there was an area filled with huge stones. This Stonehenge was guarded by the elves, where they built simple wooden walls and huts. In the depths of the stone forest, there is a sacred tree, and on that tree grow the fragments of the crystal given by God that we need. They have the power to restore the energy of the substitute. Lady Kagaya, puzzled, asked, so if we help the elves to protect the camp, will they give us this as a gift of gratitude? Lin Luo showed a mysterious smile. Normally it is so. After repelling the horrible monsters, the elf tribe, in gratitude to the player, offers some of the crystal fragments given by God. However, in a previous life, the players discovered another strategy. If they let the ugly monsters completely breach the elf defenses before killing them, they could get more crystal fragments. After all, getting a small part of the reward is not as satisfying as monopolizing the resources. 3 hours later, the siege battle had come to an end. The elf camp was finally breached, and the remaining elves left resentfully. Seeing this, Lin Luo knew it was the right time, and immediately led Lady Kagaya to charge. By then, a large number of ugly monsters had penetrated deep into the Stonehenge. They slowly amassed, merging into a level 35 ugly monster boss, when it saw the transparent crystal fragments on the sacred stone tree. Its lips couldn't help but betray its tears of emotion. Suddenly, a flash of sword light flashed by, cutting off the hand that was about to use to collect the fragments. Lin Luo, guiding Lady Kagaya and the Dark Emperor, appeared before it. Lin Luo looked at the sacred stone tree with satisfaction. The number of crystal fragments was even greater than he remembered. This time, it was truly an unexpected gain. The ugly monster leader immediately roared in rage. It didn't expect this insignificant human to dare to snatch its food. Lin Luo ignored it, casually picking up a God-given crystal fragment. A mysterious power instantly flowed into his body through his arm. The long-silent Wishmaster in his body finally awoke again. The intoxicated Wishmaster said, "What abundant energy! Thank you, my master!" Seeing this, Lin Luo immediately made a wish. The Dark Emperor's subsequent attacks were all critical hits, continuing until the ugly monster leader was dead. The Wishmaster became serious, and the wish book began to flip rapidly. "As you wish, my lord, I will fulfill all your wishes." The Dark Emperor immediately felt a surge of violent energy within him. But the ugly monster leader did not give him a chance to react, and directly launched a punch towards him. Seeing this, Lin Luo shouted, "Lady Kagaya, change to Rainy Night umbrella form. Block all attacks on the Dark Emperor. Let him focus on the exit." Lady Kagaya's long sword quickly transformed into an umbrella, which she then swung in front of the Dark Emperor. The huge fist struck the surface of the umbrella with a deafening sound. Unfortunately, this attack did not cause any damage to Lady Kagaya. Smaller ugly monsters also took the opportunity to attack the two substitutes. The duo ignored these lesser monsters, quickly dodging the attack, and then rushed quickly towards the ugly monster leader. Soon a fierce battle erupted. Your substitute, Lady Kagaya, dealt 200 points of actual damage to the ugly monster leader. Your substitute, the Dark Emperor, inflicted 370 points of critical damage. 6 by Force was successfully activated, seizing 27,900 life points. The two substitutes played with the ugly monster leader, and the Dark Emperor permanently seized its life points. Enraged, it furiously brandished its meteor hammer, temporarily repelling the two substitutes. Next, it took a deep breath, gathering powerful energy in its mouth, ready to unleash its strongest move, the Destroyer's Death Ray. Seeing this, Lin Luo was surprised. He immediately ordered Lady Kagaya to enter full defense mode. A huge beam of energy fiercely struck Lady Kagaya's umbrella, pushing the two back continuously. After the dust settled, Lady Kagaya's black umbrella was surprisingly intact. The two substitutes slowly got up from behind the umbrella. On the Rainy Night umbrella mode, Lady Kagaya's defense instantly increased to 430 points, and as long as her energy did not run out, her life points would not decrease at all. Even so, Lin Luo also began to sweat cold at that moment, because although Lady Kaguya did not suffer any damage from that blow, her energy was at rock bottom, and even the Dark Emperor who was co-defending with her seemed to have exhausted his energy. Lin Luo, reflecting for a moment, immediately tore off some crystal fragments from the sacred stone tree. The Dark Emperor instantly felt a continuous replenishment of energy. The ugly monster leader, weakened after releasing his last move, was in a perfect state for a counterattack. Countless shadow fist blows struck directly at the large head of the ugly monster leader, grabbed by the successfully activated force, successfully grasping the skill, deadly lightning destruction, successfully grabbing 36 agility points. The ugly monster leader ultimately let out a frustrated roar, being blown to pieces by Dark Emperor. Congratulations to the player for killing the ugly monster leader, gaining 9,500,000 experience points. Killing a monster 13 levels above 1,400% experience points. Such a massive amount of experience points directly activated Lin Luo's third professional skill. All swords returning to the source, countless sword energies, like a mini storm, swirled around him. Just then, the ugly monster leader, who had just been blown to pieces, began to twist. In the next moment, they all attacked Lin Luo, but a disdainful smile appeared on Lin Luo's lips. A perfect opportunity to test the new skill. Suddenly, dozens of flying swords appeared behind Lin Luo, instantly annihilating all the ugly monsters. He assigned all the attribute points he gained from leveling up to agility, increasing his agility to 204 points, significantly increasing his attack speed. Lin Luo was very satisfied with all the swords returned to their origin. His attack power was now comparable to that of a normal substitute. Fighting monsters himself was truly exciting, but just 1 second of attack had completely drained his mana. Linux remembered that mages have skills to accelerate mana recovery and absorb mana from monsters on their first job change. He firmly decided that, when he had time, he would acquire that skill. He didn't want such a powerful skill to only serve as a lifesaver, limiting its use to critical moments. Lin Luo's gaze then shifted to the nearby sacred stone tree, laden with crystal fragments like leaves, given by God. He wondered how much this would bring him. Lin Luo brandished his short sword, releasing a gust of sword energy tornadoes, instantly slashing all the crystal fragments from the stone tree. After counting, he found he had collected more than 100 pieces, equivalent to 5 SSS-grade super energy crystals. With a few more days of grinding, he believed his substitutes would not lack energy for a long time. It was also an advantage of surpassing levels higher than his own. For others, there might not be as many God-granted crystal fragments. Next were the exciting 10 consecutive spins of the Wheel of Fate. He had finally saved 20 lottery tickets to use them all at once. The Wish Master slowly appeared next to Lin Luo, bowing gracefully to him. Lin Luo, embracing the Wish Master, jokingly scolded him, "Wish Master, you have to try harder this time. If you draw 2 life extension pills like last time, it won't justify the huge amount of energy I spent reviving you." The Wish Master replied with some awkwardness, "Why, Master? I suggest you add a limiting condition to your wish." Seeing this, Lin Luo stopped joking and waved his hand, summoning the Wheel of Fate. "My next 10 consecutive spins must produce an S-grade or higher item, and the S-grade or higher items drawn will not include life extension pills." As the 20 needles of the Wheel of Fate gradually came to a stop, 20 beams of light burst out, each a different color. Lin Luo, with sharp eyes, caught a golden ray of light. Excited, Lin Luo exclaimed, "It's a legendary golden SS-grade cooling crystal, capable of permanently having the cooldown of talents." He crushed the crystal impatiently. It allows him to loot 2 S-grade or higher talents per day. Lin Luo turned his attention to an A-grade crystal he had just drawn. His gaze froze slightly. It is a magic power crystal that increases intelligence, capable of increasing intelligence by 10 points. The Wish Master whispered in Lin Luo's ear. Respected Master, I suggest you assign this intelligence crystal to the person who needs it most. Lin looked at his 3 substitutes. Their intelligence statistics from left to right were 180, 31. It seemed that the person who needed intelligence the most did not require him to choose, although he planned to use the intelligence crystal for the Dark Emperor. He still didn't fully understand the role of the intelligence attribute for the substitutes. The Dark Emperor's intelligence is 1, hence the lack of the ability to fight autonomously, which he could understand. But the Wish Master's intelligence reaches 180, theoretically 18 times superior to a normal person. Although it reacts quickly and offers many good suggestions, it does not seem exceptionally extraordinary, and Lady Kivaj's intelligence is 30, that is, 3 times that of a normal person, but apart from being obedient and sensible, she seems like a simple little sister, not notably more intelligent than him. The Wish Master noticed Lin Luo's confusion and quickly explained. Respected Master, intelligence does not equate to wisdom or cunning. It is reflected in the speed of problem solving. The higher the intelligence value, the greater the capacity to learn knowledge and acquire experience, which manifests in combat and communication, among other aspects. Lin Luo's mind sharpened, so it seems that the Dark Emperor, who relies purely on brute force, is the one who needs these 10 points of intelligence the most. With the increasing levels of the monsters, he is no longer as powerful as he was when intimidating weaker enemies. Thinking this, Lin Luo directly launched the intelligence crystal at the wooden Dark Emperor, and then had him crush the crystal, while the Dark Emperor absorbed the energy of the intelligence crystal. His eyes, initially dull, instantly lit up. Then, he spoke in a deep, majestic voice. Master, thank you for your grace. The Dark Emperor will clear all obstacles in your path. Hearing this, Lin Luo said with relief. Finally, you have grown. From now on, I won't need to control your combat. Lin Luo then launched several limit crystals to the Wish Master, increasing his energy limit from 300 points to 355 points, raising the upper limit for making wishes. After taking care of everything, he asked the Wish Master to help him locate the next target for looting, with the cooldown time of his talent reduced by half. He could use the looting talent again at night. Meanwhile, in the teaching building of the first high school, a high school student named Jan Zhang was suffering from bullying by his classmates. Every day he endured insults and beatings from these people, especially the leader, Shouyu. Before, Jin Zhan always put up with it, but now he has awakened the A-grade talent of the Sin of Wrath, reaching his limit of tolerance. All the humiliations he suffered before, he thought of returning them today. But the next moment, his fist was tightly entangled by a dark green tentacle. Unexpectedly, several tentacles sprouted from Choju's back. Choju, with a cold expression, said, "Did you think you were the only one with your level of talent? If it weren't for the fact that you find substitutes too ugly, I would have killed you long ago." Jin Zhan's face changed instantly. He had not expected that Choju had awakened an S-grade talent. But how could it be that a thug had such power? It is truly true that while the Tao lifts a foot, the devil lifts 10. His limbs were tightly entangled by the tentacles, rendering him incapable of any resistance. All the events that occurred during this time were transmitted directly to Lin Luo's mind by the Wish Master using the power of the Wish Book. And Shouyu was precisely the fourth target of the Hinla's plunder. At that moment, Shouju cushioned the immobilized Yang Yong. Little Yang, why don't you get angry now? Why don't you summon a substitute to face me? The henchmen surrounding Shouju became arrogant again and began to mock and ridicule Jiang Zhang. Jiang Zhang found that no matter how much strength he exerted, he could not break free of Shouju's grip, which filled his heart with despair. Just then, a pleasant female voice came from the doorway. "What are you doing so late?" A beautiful, professionally dressed teacher approached. You can't intimidate other students just because you have great talent. Yang Yong, in despair, saw the teacher appear before him like an angel. His eyes were filled with a glimmer of hope. However, Shou Yu's face darkened and his eyes blinked. Having already exposed his S-grade green demon substitute, he had nothing to lose. Shoig immediately controlled his tentacles to tightly entangle the teacher, gently caressing her cheek. Qin Xiaoyun, fresh out of university and a new teacher at the school. She was young and attractive, and had always been the object of admiration for high school students. Undoubtedly, Shou Yu would not miss this opportunity. He couldn't help but slowly rub his tentacles on Qin Xiaoyung's legs. This action immediately flushed Qin Xiaoyung's face. Her eyes filled with terror as she looked at Shouju. Shouju, with a lustful gaze, ignored Jin Zhan's curses behind him and reached out to Qin Xiaoyung. Suddenly, numerous cold sword lights shone and the green demon's tentacles were cleanly cut off. An imposing figure appeared behind Shouju, instantly knocking down his two henchmen. Shouyu tensed up and angrily shouted, "Get out, stop playing tricks." Lin Luo emerged from the shadows with a smile. Accompanied by Lady Kagaya in a maid's suit, calmly asking, "Are you Shouyu?" Shouyu, with a disgusted look, asked, "Who are you?" "I don't remember there being any awakeners above S-grade in our school." Lin Luo ignored him and directly summoned the Wish Master, wishing that Lin Luo would be invulnerable for 30 seconds. The battle with Bai Honglei had made Lin Luo realize one thing: never underestimate any awakener above S-grade. Shouju, feeling ignored, became furious. "I'm talking to you. Who are you exactly?" Lin Luo looked at the enraged Shou Yu and said indifferently, "Don't worry about who I am. You have 3 seconds to think about your last words." Zhou Yu felt intimidated by the imposing bearing of the Enluo. A surge of nameless rage instantly arose in his heart. "I'll give you 3 seconds to get lost. Don't think you're anything special just because you've awakened a substitute." A smile curved on the Hindu's lips. "So these are your last words?" "Ha, come on, Dark Emperor." Shou Yu was startled and asked aloud, "How many substitutes do you really have?" Dark Emperor, of course, did not hold back, covering him with a barrage of shadow fists, hitting the green tentacles mercilessly. But the next moment, his fists were buried in the tentacles and more tentacles completely entangled him. Shou Yu's face lit up with joy. "What's the use of having many substitutes? They are nothing but useless substitutes." Suddenly, numerous sword lights flashed before his eyes and the green demon's tentacles were cleanly cut off again. Lady Kagaya's face filled with coldness, cutting the green demon into segments, falling to the ground like squid tentacles, mounting. Seeing this, Shouju finally panicked, realizing that his expensive substitute was not invincible. He lost his previous arrogance. Pointing at Jin Zhan, Shouju begged, "It was Jin Zhan who intimidated my brother first. I just wanted to protect my brother. I did nothing wrong." Jin Zhan quickly and loudly accused Shou Yu of lying. Lin Luo, indifferently, said indifferently, "Stop fighting with your pathetic nature. Once you have power, you only do bad things. Sooner or later the inspector will catch you. It's better to die by my hand for more value." Shou Yu, seeing the impassive Hindu, turned to Qin Xiaoyung for help. "Master Chen, save me. I have awakened an S-rank talent. I am a key national training object. I'm supposed to be admitted to a key university." In an instant, Lady Kagaya appeared behind Shouju and a line of blood suddenly emerged from his neck. Shou Yu collapsed on the ground, gradually stopping breathing. Lin Luo passed by his body, saying coldly, "She is your teacher, and yet you dare to treat her like this. If you can do this to your own teacher today, you could kill someone tomorrow. You really deserve to die." Lin Luo then activated the talent excavation skill, seizing Joju's talent. After taking Joju's talent, just as Lin Luo was about to check the details of the talent, he was interrupted by a grateful Jin Zhan approaching to thank him. Jin Zhan, with some shyness, asked his name. Lin Luo, naturally without revealing his true name, introduced himself as the Dark Emperor. Then, coldly, he turned around with Lady Kagaya and left. At that moment, Lin Luo didn't realize he gained an enthusiastic young fanba. After bidding farewell to Jean John, Lin Luo visited a restaurant to check the newly acquired talent. Perfect fusion fuses the essence of any two existences, merging them perfectly and retaining their respective characteristics, with a duration of 5 minutes. Cooldown of 1 day. This talent is simple, but its specific effects must be verified through actual practice. Then, with a slight cry of Lin Luo, "Come out, green demon!" 10 soft green tentacles suddenly extended from his back, dancing freely in the air, resembling a giant octopus with the tentacles deployed. This feeling was somewhat fresh, like having a dozen freely extending arms, and even the sense of touch was perceptible. He had not expected a substitute in this form, and quickly opened the attribute panel of the green demons. The green demon had a skill called Elastic Skin, which reduced damage from blunt weapons, spells, and similar attacks by 50%, but increased damage from sharp weapons by 20%. Linux immediately understood why the attacks of the Dark Emperor were ineffective, probably due to the influence of this ability. Lady Kagaya, however, handled it in a few blows. Although the green demon's attack power is not high, it can launch more than a dozen attacks at once and has defensive bonuses against spells, making it a decent substitute. With the matter satisfactorily resolved, Lin Luo decided to relax for a while. He summoned all his substitutes, planning to invite everyone for fried chicken. The restaurant he was in turned out to be a famous chain, specialized in fried chicken burgers. After placing the order, he left the phone, as there was still space in the spatial crystal. He ordered more, just in case. A young waitress approached him with a puzzled look. "Hello, sir. Have you ordered 300 chicken rolls, 300 spicy burgers, 200 tender beef quintets, 100 cod burgers, and 400 cola drinks?" Linux replied with a smile. "Yes, I've placed the order. I know your store may not have many stocks, so bring everything you have." Lin Luo remembered that in 6 months, food would be scarce all over the world, as the spatial crystal preserves food as it was at the time of storage. It was better to stock up on provisions. Suddenly, Lady Kagula pointed outside and said, "Master, look, the fog outside seems to be thickening." Lin Luo felt the white fog was familiar to him. He quickly checked the government announcements on his phone and then exclaimed in shock. "It's a mouse-level disaster, an interdimensional bug catastrophe. But why is it happening much earlier? In my previous life, the first mouse-level disaster should have occurred in 7 days." At that moment, the restaurant door burst open, and a young woman ran in with a child in her arms, who was crying bitterly. She kept screaming for someone to save her son. Suddenly, a tentacle emerged from behind her and made her trip to the ground, revealing a spider monster as large as a truck. The spider had 2 crimson compound eyes on its head, and its fierce mouth was constantly drooling saliva. The fallen woman seemed terrified, but no matter how she struggled, she could not free herself from the spider's claws. Suddenly, Lin Luo rushed over and protected her behind him. The woman, seeing the tall young man in front of her, felt a sense of security. But the next moment, to her surprise, the young man headed straight for the spider monster. Lin Luo summoned the Wish Master. "Wish Master, I wish the fog within 10 meters of me to dissipate." Immediately, a white light dispersed the fog. Lin Luo brandished his short sword, quickly slicing the spider in 2 with the sword energy. Congratulations to the player for killing a level 7 long-legged spider and gaining 640 experience points. This disaster, although calamitous for humanity, also presented opportunities. Killing these monsters did not provide equipment or items, but 4 times more experience points. Several large locusts flew out of the fog. But before they could approach the Hindu, they were instantly killed by Lady Kagaya. The Dark Emperor even ventured alone into the swarm of insects. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, in a neighborhood invaded by numerous insects, someone curiously observed these insected beasts through the thick fog, saying, "Old man, these insects are so huge. How much experience can we get from killing them?" Yudhijia replied, "The bonus for killing monsters above our level, plus the quadruple experience, should be quite substantial. This wave of disasters is catastrophic for ordinary people, but for us, who have awakened powerful talents, it is an opportunity to widen the gap with them." A person with a blue Taoist robe spoke. "Impressive. Someone who has returned from the future knows so much." Eustasia turned to Luju, the first player to reach the second awakening in the original timeline. It was supposed to be 6 days after the mass awakening. But yesterday, that Dark Emperor advanced to his second awakening ahead of time, so the first mouse-level disaster was also brought forward. But no matter. I have found them to create the strongest team using the photocopies of these insects. We can quickly reach level 20 and complete our second awakening. After saying this, he broke the window in front of him and led everyone to the fog, next to Linlu, after killing a wave of insects. He realized that these insects seemed to have temporarily overcome their phototactic instinct and dared not get too close. Lin Luo asked the Dark Emperor and Lady Kagaya to guard the door, while turning to check if the food he had ordered was packed. He went to the counter, putting all the hot burgers and fried chicken into the spatial crystal. Then he solemnly advised, "For the next 10 days or so, it is unlikely that anyone will come to rescue you. Outside there are insects that bite and eat people everywhere. Don't go out, wait for help here. The food and water in the store should be enough for you. When I leave, turn off the lights immediately. The light will attract the insects in the fog." Seeing Lin Lu about to leave, the young woman hurried to grab his arm. "Can you take me with you? My son is too young to die here." Seeing this, others also gathered around, begging Lin Luo to take them with him. Lin Luo's gaze showed no hesitation as he rejected everyone. Then he pushed the door and left the restaurant. Suddenly, he felt a pain in his heart, a premonitory feeling as if he had overlooked something important. Suddenly, he remembered that the story had changed due to his rebirth, and the disaster had been brought forward. Would Sister Wenyu be able to handle the sudden danger? At that moment, a late-night girl got trapped in the fog, attacked by an alien hunter as tall as a 2-story building. Suddenly, a figure dressed in a blue Taoist robe descended from the sky. Behind him appeared a majestic elder, who gently waved his hand after forming a Taoist gesture, instantly crushing the alien hunter to the ground. Brazenly said, "Beautiful lady, now you are safe. I am a contemporary Taoist master. How will you pay me?" Just at that moment, a beam of light suddenly erased the suppressed alien hunter. It was the exclusive skill of the SS grade substitute, Emperor's Eye. Control of life and death. 3 more figures emerged from the fog. White Island said politely, "Daoi's to Lu, let me help you." Lu's eyes turned cold. Clearly displeased with him for openly snatching away experience points. Seeing this, Hui Lang hurried to apologize with a smile. After all, he could not afford to offend someone who had awakened an SS-grade talent. A certain Shin Fang, who was walking behind, suddenly said, "Now that this monster is dead, I don't think you'll mind if I make use of it." He slowly approached the body of the alien hunter, muttering in a low voice, "For your king, rise again." The shadow under the corpse seemed to come to life, finally forming a coal-black alien hunter. Lu explained, "So this is the SS-grade talent, Shadow Manor. Ha, old you, the companions you've found are impressive." Utaya bitterly smiled to himself. His new teammates were truly more terrifying than the others. Gathering them, he was not sure if it was a good or bad thing. Meanwhile, not far away, a figure was quickly approaching. Wherever it passed, the fog dispersed and the nearby insects died instantly. Luju and the others, of course, noticed that Lin Lu was rushing wildly through the fog, prompting an interested conversation. His technique for killing monsters is clean and efficient. Is he leveling up by killing monsters like us? But ordinary people cannot predict the future. It must be someone who has awakened a decent talent, trying to fight for survival. At this moment, Lin Luo had no time to pay attention to his surroundings, running towards Sister Ai's house based on the memory of his past life. In the blink of an eye, he arrived at Yuxi's door and began to knock on the door without hesitation. As long as he could confirm that his family was safe, he could go back to sleep peacefully. Rapid footsteps sounded from inside the door, followed by a familiar and anxious voice. That's when Yuxi returns. As the door opened, a middle-aged woman with a worried expression appeared. When Yuxi's mother, Li Zhengyi, upon seeing Lin Luo at the door, showed a surprised expression. While Lin Luo was moved to see his benefactor after many years, he focused on the key point of his words. Auntie Li, isn't the eldest sister at home? Li Zhengyi, with a worried face, said the end of the workday has already passed, and Gwen Yuxi has not yet returned. I don't know if something has happened. There's no signal on the mobile phone with this fog outside. What should we do? Lin Luo, hearing this, instantly felt a bad premonition. Sister, I must be in trouble. He quickly said, Aunt, don't be scared. I'm going to look for Sister Wen now. Promise me. No matter how much noise you hear. Don't go out or open the windows. After speaking, he rushed into the thick fog with determination in his eyes. In the current situation, anyone without awakened combat talents or inherited instance powers would have little chance of surviving against the insects. Sister, I must be safe. As Lin Luo crossed the fog, he suddenly heard the voice of the Dark Emperor. Master, there's someone here. Not far away, on the ground, lay a disfigured corpse, dressed and in the shape of a city office worker. Lin's face darkened. The disaster is truly dangerous. I must find Sister Wen quickly. He immediately summoned the Master of Wishes, asking him to reveal the location of Wayne Yuxi. The wish book quickly turned. Its page glowed with golden light. Moments later, the location of Wayne Yuxi appeared in his mind. About 3 minutes away from him, in a nearby 24-hour store, the outside was infested with giant locusts. Gwen Yuxi and her friend, Wen were crouching in a corner, along with a store employee, Maid Daji, who fearfully muttered, It's over. It's the end of the world. Everyone is doomed. No one can escape alive. His gaze towards the two girls gradually changed, attracted by the youthful beauty of Wen Yuxi. Suddenly he pounced on them. The two frightened women got up from the floor. Wayne Yuxi, with a distorted face, asked, What are you doing? Maidahai stretched out his hands and said, Outside there are so many insects that could pounce at any moment. We could die at any moment. Of course, we must enjoy it in time. When one got up, cursing furiously, You're sick. Look at yourself in the mirror. Maid there pushed one away, grabbing Gwen Yuxi's hand, saying mockingly, I don't even feel like you. I want her. When one immediately pounced on him to push him away, but Maida-ji, annoyed, pushed her back fiercely. This push made her stumble and faint after hitting the corner of the wall. Maidagi slowly unbuckled his belt, telling her so. I'm still a virgin girl. Let me die without regrets. When Yuxi, caught off guard, was pinned against the wall, terrified, she struggled desperately. Seeing her resist, Maida Hila slapped her, causing her to briefly lose consciousness. Suddenly, the glass door shattered with a loud crash. The glass fragments then hit the floor. Meidahi paled and looked back, wondering if the insects had invaded. But a fist flew past, sending Meidaji flying. Meidaji looked behind Wen Yuxi, carefully cradling her in his arms. Wen Yuxi exclaimed in disbelief, Is that you, Lin Luo? Lin Luo looked at her tenderly, apologizing. I'm sorry, sister, I came late. Meidaji, seeing it was a person and not insects, emboldened himself and began cursing at Lin Luo. Lin Luo looked at him coldly. The next moment, the Dark Emperor appeared, grabbing Meidagi's neck and lifting him up like a dead dog. Lin Luo, with a chilling gaze, asked Maida Ji. Tell me, what have you done to her? Maida Ji, panicked, began to scream for help, but the grip on his throat tightened, reducing him to fearful whimpers. The Hindu's eyes, filled with a murderous aura, immobilized him. I'll give you one last chance. What have you done? As the Dark Emperor squeezed harder, Maida Ji's face went from red to blue. At Lin Luo's order, the Dark Emperor threw him to the ground, giving him a chance to speak. Maida Ji crawled, clinging to the Hindu's legs, begging for mercy. Brother, I was wrong. I swear I didn't do anything to your wife. Please forgive me. I'll surrender immediately, Maida Ji promised. The expression on Lin Luo's face changed, and a cruel smile formed on his lips. I'll give you two options. First, I kill you now. Second, you go outside. Maybe you'll have a small chance of survival. Maida Ji, with a hesitant look, said, Thank you, elder brother, for sparing my life. I'll go outside. Seeing Maida Ji leave, Lin Luo's voice turned icy. Wish, master, I wish for 200 insects to appear around him in 5 minutes. Maida Ji, secretly relieved as he escaped the store, thought the store's crystal was already broken. It was only a matter of time before the insects entered. They would all die soon. He knew a nearby place to hide. Suddenly, a giant locust pounced on him, and more insects emerged from the fog, fluttering over his body, frantically gnawing at him. Until death, he did not understand why he had such bad luck to encounter so many insects as soon as he stepped out onto the street. Lin Luo gently stroked her hair, calming her. Sister, don't be afraid. It's all over now. Guan Yushi looked at Lin Luo and asked softly, Did you really let him go? Lin Luo answered gravely, Of course not. How could I easily forgive someone who dared to harm the most important person to me, just letting him die under the fangs of countless insects? Can he pay for even a fraction of his sins? Genyu's face flushed at his words, just as she was about to ask more. Lady Guguya suddenly appeared next to them, asking curiously, Master, is she the one who will become your girlfriend? Lin Luo was stunned and scolded loudly. Lady Kagaya, don't talk nonsense. Guan Yushi, already shy, turned around, not wanting to look at Lin Luo anymore. Lady Kagaya's face showed confusion as she asked seriously, Master, don't you like her? You said she was very important to you before. At that moment, Lin Luo was both embarrassed and excited, but he did not deny Lady Kagaya's words. Instead, he laughed shyly, seeing that Wen Yushi was also looking at him. He became a bit nervous. Just then, when one who had fainted suddenly woke up. Wen Yu quickly approached and hugged her, checking her injuries. After confirming that she only had a headache, he carefully helped her up, seeing Lin Luo a stranger, when one clings to when seen in fear. Si Hong, don't be afraid, he is my good friend Lin Luo. He saved us. When Wes calmed her down, blushing. Saijin looked at Lin Luo with curiosity, wondering when Wegnes and had such a handsome friend. Lin Luo, seeing that both girls were safe, urged them to leave quickly. There is no barrier at the door, and soon a swarm of insects will fill the place. Half an hour later, Lin Luo was accompanied by Wing Yuzi to her house. Upon opening the door, Liange greeted with a look of joy, and mother and daughter hugged each other tightly, both somewhat shaken. After settling in the living room, Li Jungi served Lin Luo aromatic, profusely praising him. Lin Luo, slightly embarrassed, scratched the back of his neck, noticing the absence of his father. When Yushi asked her mother about him, the expression on Li Jungi's face became concerned. Your father, a civil servant, has been notified that he has to stay on guard at the office today. I hope he is safe. Lin Luo paused, realizing the moment, Wen Yu's father. If he worked in a service center with open doors, easily accessible to insects, they probably didn't know the phototactic nature of the insects. If the building's lights attract the insects, it's not like an open invitation, he thought. Suddenly standing up, Lin Luo spoke seriously. Aunt Li, Sister One, I must go to Uncle I's office, right now. Gaino, if you object immediately, no, it's too dangerous outside. There are insects everywhere. Lin Luo looked at her tenderly, reassuring her. Don't worry, sister, I'll bring Uncle One back safe and sound. Half an hour later, Lin Luo arrived at the service center in Heng City. Inside, faint cries and shrieks could be heard, suggesting he had arrived too late, and the insects had already attacked. Linux suddenly felt an oppressive aura and looked around cautiously. The disaster creatures at the mouse level should not be above level 20. At that moment, part of the top left corner of the office building collapsed, revealing a shadow dozens of meters tall in the fog. Lin Luo gasped in shock. It's a wormhole guardian. He looked at the wormhole guardian, slightly dazed. Creatures and disasters usually come through wormholes, and those near wormholes, called wormhole guardians, have higher levels. Killing a wormhole guardian can stop the disaster in the corresponding area. Before the world descended into chaos, the authorities had made public information. Anyone who provides the specific location of a wormhole guardian and contributes to its siege will receive extremely generous rewards. Thought Lin Luo, staring at the wormhole guardian, a behemoth over level 30+. He wondered if it would be luck or the misfortune, but his priority was to save Uncle Wang. Inside the office building, Wang Bang and Wang Jiangwu hid from the insects. Entrenched in a file room, with cabinets against the door. The two men, about to retire, trembled in fear and sweated profusely as the door was dented under the attacks of the insects. Never in their lives had they faced anything stranger and more terrifying than this day. Suddenly, the window above Wang Yengu's head shattered, causing both of them to scream in terror. But after a while, no insects entered through the window and the blows from outside ceased. Then Lin Luo's voice came from outside. Uncle Wang, it's me, Lin Luo, are you there? Wang Yangwu seemed amazed. Lin Luo hurried to open the door and saw Lin Lu, short sword in hand, smiling as he greeted them. With the insects bisected on the floor, no longer fighting. Meanwhile, in the martial arts square of Han's city, Yudahijia, gritting his teeth, lamented. Sacred Forest, the secret realm for energy acquisition. It was cleared by the Dark Emperor before us. He had sacrificed many world firsts to gather these stronger awakeners. And now, Dark Emperor had beaten him to the kingdom. The secret kingdom screen showed player eliminated, Dark Emperor, time. 1 hour 52 minutes. Remaining update time. 18 hours. Qin Fan, curious, asked, has it been that long? Did he stay alone in the kingdom? How could his substitute maintain the energy for such a prolonged battle? Yu Taijia, with a disgusted look, explained. Normally, the energy consumption is not that high. It's enough to help the NPCs at the right time. I didn't expect someone to get ahead of us. Lu Hu speculated. Old Yu, it seems that Dark Emperor is also a time traveler like you. Yu Taijia, with a passionate face, admitted that it was likely, but he couldn't understand how Dark Emperor had stolen his power and traveled with him. The only flaw of us, the SS and higher class awakeners, is that the substitute requires a massive energy supply. But now is not the time for that. I know of other kingdoms for energy cultivation. I refuse to believe he has cleaned them all. And as for the Dark Emperor, I will have to face him sooner or later. Just then, Lin Luo had just accompanied Uncle One home. Uncle One, still dazed. One assimilated the surreal events of the day, finding it incredible that such terrifying insects were easily dismembered by the young man whom his family had supported since childhood. Lin Luo, noticing Uncle One's confusion, quickly explained, Uncle I have awakened an S-rank talent, which allows me to kill those insects. Uncle I, surprised, replied, is an S-rank talent so strong? We have also awakened talents. For example, I have awakened a strength level talent that accelerates physical recovery. Now I can climb 5 floors without getting out of breath. And I also shared with interest I have awakened a C-rank talent, wisdom. It has greatly improved my memory. They say it can even prevent senile dementia. When Yuzi, with her hands lovingly, I am Lin Luo's shoulders. Boastfully, I'm even more impressive than you two. I've awakened an A-rank talent, the celestial voice. It makes my singing more beautiful and can restore the endurance of everyone and add several beneficial effects. At that moment, and I curiously asked Lin Luo. Lin Luo, what talent have you awakened? Lin Luo paused for a moment, knowing that directly asking about someone's talent was taboo in the current environment. However, he understood the simple concern and curiosity of Aunt I and replied, Aunt, I have awakened a talent called Celestial Justice, at that level. It is a talent, powerful offensive capabilities. Gwen Yushir, with an expectant look, said Lin Luo, you are so incredible. I'm too scared to go to the dungeons. Take me with you when you have time. Uncle One, somewhat excited, commented each generation has its talents. Lin Luo, your social status in the future will be very high. Make sure to take advantage of this opportunity. In response to the future father-in-law's advice, Lin Luo said, naturally, Uncle I getting up tired, said Lin Luo, you have worked hard today, it's getting late and we have a guest room. You can stay here overnight. Lin Luo was momentarily stunned and felt somewhat embarrassed to see this. Gwen Yushi quickly grabbed his hand to show him the room. Uncle I watched Lin Luo's back, lost and struggled. At that time, it was because he saw the two getting too intimate when he spoke to Lin Luo, which led to that shy Lin Luo voluntarily cutting ties with the Ai family. He never imagined that the orphanage boy would become the savior of his family after many years of separation. The next morning, Lin Luo woke up from his dream, feeling somewhat puzzled by everything that had happened the day before. Not only had he saved Sister One and Uncle One, but he had also ended up staying at their house. The warmth he felt was comforting, but he knew it was not yet time to relax. He still has a lot to do. His brother is still waiting for his rescue. The priority now is to strengthen himself, find the next S-rank or higher substitute as soon as possible. In a building, a middle-aged man focuses on conjuring his substitute, with a malicious face of Clara. With the fear and despair of all beings, I summon you, Demon King of Fear. Behind him, endless evil flames emerge and instantly the terrifying figure of a demon king-like entity appears. The middle-aged man looks at the figure with joy, laughing somewhat maniacally. Is this an SS-level substitute? My own SS-level substitute. The Demon King of Fear looks at the man and whispers to him. My dear, go forth, sacrifice the fear and despair of living beings. I will grant you invincible power. After leaving the only family, he immediately begins to choose his next target for plunder. Among the 15 executives of the Smiling Coffin organization, Lu Ming and Xiao Yung, they have already been eliminated by him. There are 2 others confirmed to have awakened S-rank talents, Hu Jinming and Hu Tao.